with me, Andi P, the show that's chasing dreams and crushing goals and avoiding our crazy, right? Today we are a little bit early. We're going to start early for you here at 5:30 because we have other cool stuff coming up at 6 o'clock. So first, my goal here, as always, is to help you live a healthier, happier, more balanced life in 2022 and beyond. So this year, do you remember what our focus is? Learning to love ourselves unconditionally. Yes, even when we're feeling just a little bit crazy. Because, it happens to all of us every now and then, right? We do what we can do. And even Dr. Seuss said being crazy isn't enough. So there, if it works for Dr. Seuss, it's gotta work for us. So let's break this down, okay? What is crazy? What is insanity? And I hope nobody gets offended. I'm using crazy playfully, so I'm not trying to call you out. However, insanity is a totally different thing, right? You've all heard the definition, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And I believe that we are all guilty of that from time to time. Yeah, we do. We just keep banging our heads against that same wall. And why do we do that? Why do we, how many times does it take before we learn? Well, if you want to live healthier, happier, and more balanced, you got to learn that lesson. Yeah, you can't just keep repeating it. So let's jump into our Eat segment with how to stop doing the same thing over and over. They talk about yo-yo dieting. Isn't that kind of the definition of yo-yo dieting? You're doing the same thing over and over. You're trying these crazy things that have quick results and then back to square one, and then quick results and then back to square one, and usually actually even back farther than square one. Yeah, that's kind of the way they work, and yet we keep doing it. Why do we keep doing it? That's a crazy way to approach changing your life, making little lifestyle changes. That's what we talk about here, because that is the key. So you want to not do the same thing over and over? Well, let's try varying it up, mixing it up. I talk about all the time, how many different colors can you get on your plate? That is going to mix it up. When you really start to think outside the box, and when I say the box, at the grocery store, all those things that come in boxes? Stay away from those. In fact, when you go to the grocery store, stick to the outer sections of the store. Have you ever thought about that? When you come in, usually, if you turn directly to your right, you're going to find produce. Stock up on your fruits and vegetables. You continue around the store, you're going to find dairy, you're going to find meat, real foods. That's where you find all the real food. In the center of the store are things that come in boxes and bags and cans. And, some of those we need. Okay, mustard, I'll give you that. But most of that stuff is all the processed junk that we just keep going back to over and over and over, and then wondering why our health is deteriorating, our obesity is skyrocketing, diabetes, all these problems. Well, sounds a little bit crazy to me, right? So let's try doing something different today. That's all. Let's just do things a little bit different than the way we've been doing them. Let's try for a different result, even if it's just one little thing. Like, how about water? Let's start with that. How can we do water differently? That's a weird question, right? But we all know that we need to drink more water. We need to be more hydrated. So often when you think you're hungry, you're actually dehydrated. Your body, the signal your body is sending you is that it's thirsty, but we have become accustomed to feeding that feeling. Feeding a lot of feelings, as a matter of fact. We're really pretty good at that. But so many times what your body really is craving is hydration. So I was looking up, I have, not everyone in my life listens to all my advice. Imagine that. And even though I encourage drinking a lot of water to everyone that I know and love, they don't always do it. So I looked up some ways that you can hydrate using other things other than water. Yeah. And no, alcohol's not on the list. In fact, that's kind of the opposite. That kind of dehydrates you, as well as things that have caffeine. Yeah, I know. And I'm not gonna go there with caffeine because, coffee, I think we all need a cup in the morning. So we're not gonna badmouth that in any way. Let's just focus on positive and those good things that you can drink if you just are not into drinking plain water, or if you're just tired of it. I know when I was training super hard with bodybuilding, I had to drink 1.5 gallons every day. That's a lot of water. And you get really tired of it. It gets really boring. So something you can do, which I actually just discovered this and I'm totally digging it. So I hope you do too. Have you ever put chia seeds in your water? Sounds weird. I thought so too. And I like chia seeds and I know that they're good for you, but why would you put them in your water? So I went ahead and tried this little experiment and they're super fun. It gives your water a weird texture. It's kind of, I don't know how to describe this that makes it sound appealing, but so they're little teeny tiny seeds, but when they're in liquid, they absorb it, but they get kind of gelatinous. So when you're drinking it in your water, you get these tiny little gelatinous pebbles. I don't know. That doesn't sound good at all, but it gives your water a really interesting texture. It doesn't change the taste at all, but it gives it a weird texture. And so, I don't know, it just kind of gives your mouth something to do. And if you think that's crazy, well, that's all right, because we're embracing our crazy today. That's what we're going to do. Let's call it that. Just like Dr. Seuss. So another excellent option, maybe not as fun, is herb infused tea. That is tasty and can rid your body of toxins. Oh, let me jump back to the chia seeds. I got so excited about the freaky texture, but the purpose is that it actually prolongs your hydration because your body is having to, break down the chia seeds, which also aids digestion. So it's good. It's kind of a multifaceted little cool thing there. So chia seeds in your water, herb infused tea, very good, getting rid of all those nasty toxins. Cucumber juice. Have you ever drank cucumber juice? Have you thought to do that? Well, packed with nutrients. Also, coconut water. This one, I know about this, right? Because I was encouraged to drink a lot of coconut water when I was training for the Ironman, and I don't like it. I'm not a fan. I don't like coconut anyway, so I will drink it because it's a good thing to drink, but only really, really cold. If it's warm, count me out. That gets it. Anyway, it does have natural electrolytes and it curbs hunger. So if you are trying to lose weight, this is an excellent thing for you to drink because you're staying hydrated, you're getting your electrolytes, you're curbing your hunger, and that's that. And it doesn't taste that great. So it's not like you're going to overdo it. just my humble opinion. Next up, another one you may not have tried yet, aloe vera juice. Super dense in the water content. So again, something that you don't have to maybe drink as much of to get that content that you need. Okay. If these things are maybe not appealing to you, or you just want to keep things interesting because we are not going to repeat the same things over and over, right? We're going to keep mixing it up. Well, let's add some fruit smoothies, vegetable juice. Both of those are excellent ways to get hydration with a lot of nutrients as well. Now be careful, fruit smoothies especially are going to pack in some calories and some sugar. It's natural sugar, I get that. But if you are dealing with diabetes or you're just not wanting to take in too much fructose at once, then watch out for those fruit smoothies. Vegetable juice, of course, is an excellent choice. If you really want to go the extra mile, start juicing. Get all those vegetables and put them in the juicer. I have not actually juiced. Seems like a lot of work, but a lot of people like that. I mean, people cook like full meals too, and that has always confused me. So do not listen to me when it comes to yeah. Isn't that weird? Okay, let's take a little side journey. We're going to have lots of side journeys today because we're talking about getting a little crazy, right? So I was visiting my sister a couple of days ago, and she loves to cook. Cooks all the time, all these really cool, fancy meals. And I was watching her make a salad. It was the most amazing salad I've ever seen. And it plays into what we're talking about because there were so many colors. She used several different kinds of lettuce. I'm not sure if she put spinach. I would have added spinach because I love it. And I would not have added kale because I hate it. But you can add lots of different kinds of lettuce. And she had broccoli slaw, threw in some of that. She crushed up some almonds. She put, what else did she put? There were so many different things. Carrots and peppers and she just kept adding all these things. And I thought, wow, that is a lot of work that you're going to. This is fascinating. Because I would just get some spinach and I don't know, maybe throw in some peppers, but that's me. And I cook as simple as possible, but I'm fascinated and I love you people who really put all that effort into putting together a meal and bringing in all those different facets. I think that's really cool. So you are the kind of people who totally could be juicing because it's kind of the same concept. You're getting all of those different vegetables and rather than throwing them in a salad, you just put them in the juicer and drink them. Yeah, pretty cool. All right. Another good way to get some hydration without going dairy. A lot of people struggle with dairy and it can be hard on your body. So I try to avoid dairy as much as possible. Oat milk and almond milk are both really good choices for getting a milk-like substance. They work really well in your coffee or in your smoothies. So that's a good go-to. Then, if you are a fan of lemonade is something that you can use for hydration. And you would think, what? That's got sugar. Well, you can make your own with stevia. You're familiar with stevia, right? It is a natural sweetener that's actually sweeter than sugar. So you need just a teeny tiny little bit. So you take water, lemons, and stevia. That's it. Make your own lemonade. And that way you're getting that citrus, you're getting the water that you need, and you're getting, if you're craving something sweet, you can get that too. So it's kind of a little win-win there. So we're going to vary it up no matter what we're doing, whether it's our food, whether it's what we're drinking, even if it's just water. We can still find ways to do something new and not just repeat the same behavior over and over, expecting a different result. So I have another quote for you. This one is from Viggo Mortensen. I have no idea who that is, but I like what he said. There's no excuse to be bored. Sad? Yes. Depressed? Yes. Angry? Yes. Crazy? Yes. But there is no excuse for boredom ever. I like that. That's kind of cool. So that's why we're not going to get bored with our food or our water. And we're not going to get bored while we're playing. That's kind of the opposite of playing, right? So how can we move our bodies in a way that is absolutely not going to get boring? Well, same concept here. Let's mix it up. Whether you like a treadmill, say we're working inside because it is winter, treadmill, a cross trainer, an indoor bike, whichever you like to do, it's totally fine to mix that up. And the deal is they all burn about the same amount of calories. So don't feel guilty if you prefer the elliptical over the bike. Okay. You don't like the treadmill? Okay. Do whichever one you like. But I encourage you to mix it up. Keep your body from getting bored with what you're doing. And, okay, another little side journey because I just got back in town and whenever I go new places, you know, I have to find cool places to work out. And I was in Houston, so I went to Soul Cycle. Soul Cycle is amazing. It's a spinning class, and I know you're all familiar with spinning, but Soul Cycle just has a few locations. I've been to a couple of the ones in New York and now this one in Houston, and it's completely dark except for 4 candles that light the room. And it's very dancey on the bike. So you're doing a lot of back and forth movements and you're doing push-ups and crunches while you're on the bike. It's a little hard to visualize. And if you're not coordinated, you're going to want to try it a few times before you'll get the hang of it, because it can be just a little bit tricky at first, but it's super fun. And the instructors are very, very uplifting. You cannot come out of that class feeling bad about yourself in any way, because the whole time they are just pumping you with all this encouragement and uplifting thoughts. I mean, you walk out of there thinking you can just conquer the world. And I love that. It's so cool. And then, of course, my heart is also with Peloton, and very similar. Okay. It's still a stationary bike. You're still riding with an instructor who's leading you in what to do. I actually found a Peloton store in Houston. Didn't even know that existed, but completely different workout experience, completely different playtime, I might say, because Soul Cycle is such a dancey, but also kind of a boho vibe is what I would consider it. And Peloton is way more sports oriented. I think there's no dancing involved. You're just pedaling and sweating so much and making it harder, making it easier, going faster, going slower. And they lead you in all that. So there's really it's not hard mentally. You don't have to really think. You just do what they say. You just trust the process. So if you were ever curious, like, what are these people talking about with Soul Cycle and Peloton? What is all this? It's riding a stationary bike in a way that's not boring. That's it right there. That sums it up. Then, okay, I mentioned the elliptical when I was talking about cross trainers if you're going into the gym. And I don't know how familiar you are with the elliptical, but I want to just quickly tell you what a cool piece of equipment this is. If you haven't tried it, try it, because it's low impact, right? So it takes stress off the back, off the knees, off the hips. It's just a nice motion. It kind of, to me, feels like a hybrid between a treadmill and a bike, because you're moving your feet in that pedal kind of elliptical. Well, it's an elliptical. Okay. Circular motion, let's call it that. But you're not pounding the pavement. Your feet never leave that pedal. So like a bike, there's no impact there. But like a treadmill, it's a little more of back and forth. Okay. Does that make sense? The cool thing is that it's so ideal for cross training in between your sport specific sessions, because that low impact nature keeps your muscles primed, but it's preventing injuries from overuse. So if you just do one thing over and over and over and you never change it up, then you get more prone to injury from overusing those same muscles over and over again. So here again, this is why it makes so much sense to just mix it up. And you're diversifying your muscle groups. Good news for those of you who like the elliptical, it's super good for your glutes. Yes, that is the rear view, just so you know. The cool thing is there are a lot of different options on the elliptical. You can do like more of an incline. You can go backwards instead of forwards. And everything that you do changes the muscles that are being targeted. So they have little hand, I'm just having trouble with my words today. I guess driving 4.5, 5 hours and then jumping out and getting right on the radio is hard on my brain. But anyway, there's handlebars and they move. So if you choose to put your hands, you don't have to use the handlebars that move. You can just hold on to the center section. But if you use the handlebars, then it adds that upper body motion, which brings your heart rate up even more and brings in your obliques, gets your upper body involved. So it becomes a complete full body workout. How about that? Pretty cool, right? So there are just, it's just a cool, it's been in a gym in the gyms for a long time. And I'm sure you've seen them. I would assume you've probably tried them, but did you know? Sometimes it's just good to kind of take a look and go, why would I use this machine? What's so great about it? To me, it feels easier than some of the other machines. So I feel guilty because, I like things to be hard. I don't know. But if I don't feel like I'm working hard enough, then what's the point? Right. But you will build up a sweat. In fact, there was an elliptical in the hotel that I was in Houston, and I got on that one day when it was rainy and yucky out. And yeah, got a good sweat going. So I can vouch for the elliptical. All right. Let's go for another quote as we move into our live segment. One person's craziness is another person's reality. Yes, that is very true. So no matter what your reality is, you can change your perspective and your attitude if you will get rid of the stinking thinking. That's right. We've got to just change our perspective. If we want our reality to be better, then let go of it. Let go of that mean voice in the back of your head, and things will right away. They just get better. So whether it's people, places, or things, let's attack all of our nouns in our life and figure out a way to have a better attitude toward them. Okay. I want to start with places because I mentioned that I was in Houston, and that's what made me think of this is I lived in Houston for from until I was 13. So young, in my young years, but I've not had a good opinion of that city. For the last 30-ish years, I have referred to it as the armpit of Texas. And I kind of feel like I owe it a little bit of an apology. Now, there are still bad things. There are still problems. I had to lock everything all the time. It gets a little annoying, and the traffic, But I found some real hidden gems while I was there this time. And you know what the difference was? Nothing about the city. It was all about my attitude. I was looking at it with fresh eyes. I hadn't been there in a really long time, and I was spending time with people who make me happy, and maybe that was all it took to change my perspective. But it was so fascinating that all of a sudden this place that I had always been like, why would you even go there? Became, I want to explore this. I want to see that. Oh my gosh, I remember that road from when I was 13 years old. Or I remember going to the Galleria with my best friend. And all of a sudden, the good things came back because that's what I was focused on. So just something to think about if you want to change your attitude. When it comes to people, that can be tricky, right? You got some attitude towards somebody. What are you going to do? Well, that can be changed too. And here's something that I learned with my first husband. Yes, I said first. Don't judge me. But when we got divorced, I was very angry. And I did not like him. And I did not want to think good things about him. But I needed to because we have children. And so I was encouraged to pray for him. But to pray whatever you would want for yourself, pray for that person that you don't like or that you're angry with. And if you're not the praying sort, then just think those good thoughts. Whatever you would wish for yourself, wish for them. And it's hard at first because you're not really feeling it. But start with something like health or sanity. I pray that this person will come to their senses. I don't know. But start wherever you need to start. But when you start turning that, what you would want for yourself, want that for that person, it works. It changes your perspective and it changes your attitude. And then things. What about those things in your life that you just don't like? Have you ever had a job that you just didn't like? I had a job for a while that every time I pulled in the parking lot, I would get a knot in my stomach. I just didn't like it. And I had somebody telling me the other day, complaining about their job. I just don't think I'm even going to go back. I just don't like it. Well, have you talked to anybody about that? Have you talked to your boss? Do they know what's wrong? Because a lot of those things that we get real hung up on can be changed if you're willing to try, if you're willing to communicate your needs, your boundaries, all those things. Not everything can be changed. And sometimes it is a sign that maybe that door is closing, but don't give up before you try other avenues, before you talk to somebody, before you give someone the chance to make it better. If you're working there, they wanted you, they hired you, you wanted that job, you went there. So is it not worth trying to make that work? So anyway, that's just kind of my thought on making things just a little less crazy as we work our way through this crazy life. So let's go with one last quote for you. Don't worry if people think you're crazy. You are crazy. You have that kind of intoxicating insanity that lets other people dream outside of the lines and become who they are destined to be. Thank you for being part of my crazy tribe and putting up with my wandering all over the map. I hope you will tune in next Thursday. We'll be back at 6 p.m. next Thursday. Thank you for tuning in just a little bit earlier tonight. And until then, stay strong, mix it up, and live La Vida Loca. How about that? Have a great night.
TSN News, I'm Barbara Schwartz.